All right, gang, we are going to talk about multi-location ownership. We are here in one of the 1,000 tilt locations. Not actually 1,000, it's like 7 or 8. But we're going to talk to Max. We talk about all things with regard to leadership, elevating your staff, what it's like to go from 1 affiliate to 2 to 7, and what that process is like for him. So if that is something you're interested in, if that is something you have aspirations of in the future, you're definitely going to watch this episode. Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day. Multi-location ownership. We're going to talk all things with the man, the myth, the legend. One of the most successful box owners that most affiliate owners don't know about, Max Isaac.
Nobody knows.
He just completely taken over the entire state of Massachusetts with the tilt locations. But Max is also one of our coveted team members on Best Hour, working with affiliate owners on business development. So does it really, really well. I admittedly didn't know how many locations you had when we first met the first few times. And then you're like, oh, 78 locations?
No.
We'll get to that, but first, let's talk a little bit of your background. Like, what's your CrossFit genesis story?
I got in on a Groupon. So
Did you?
12 years ago, I was
From Groupon to 7 locations is now the name of this podcast.
That's a good hook.
Yeah.
I was a kindergarten teacher working at an after-school program, and our after-school director was like, "You like to work out?" I'm like, "I like to work out." She's like, "There's this thing called CrossFit. It's $50, and they'll give you a month in this thing called Elements."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, I'm in." So
this is before saltwater, everybody, just for the record.
Yeah. So turned out it was CrossFit New England.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I had no clue, but CrossFit New England's in Natick. It's in like a suburb right outside of Boston. Like that's
We're in Boston now. We're at one of your locations. How far is Natick from here? 20 minutes?
30 minutes,
okay.
Yep. So it was in the same town that I was teaching at. I went there. I went through Elements. My first coach was Matt Della Valle, and I remember telling him, I finished Elements. I said, I might add this into my routine. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I could guarantee you in a month you'll be coaching here. And I was like, we'll see. It might have been a little bit more than a month, but my first coaching experience was volunteering for the kids class.
Okay.
So I was teaching kindergarten before that, teaching preschool. I had always been involved in, I was recreation director at camp. Mm-hmm. I had always worked with kids. And they're like, we need somebody to volunteer for the kids class, and you can have a free membership. And I was flat broke. I was
like, I'm a teacher. I'll take the free membership.
I was a private school teacher living in Brighton, living completely outside of my means, because that's kind of what you had to do, and just barely scraping by. And I remember I went through Elements, I got my month, and I'm like, I need to figure out in this next month how I'm going to pay for CrossFit, because I'm like really liking it, but like, I don't have $200 a month or whatever. And so they asked me if I'd volunteer. I'm like, I'm in. So that's how I started.
I don't know if you know this, but this is something that I actively look for when we bring on people. Do you know how many people on the Best Hour team are teachers?
I don't know, all of them.
Almost everybody on the biz dev side was a former teacher, or in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, I believe it.
You, Allison, Joel.
Yeah, Steve is headmaster of Hogwarts.
Still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, still is. Yeah. He still is. Yeah. No, but I think that is a characteristic when we look at people like on our team. I was just having this conversation with somebody because we're working on a new project, and I said, whenever we hire that person, they need to be a teacher at heart, because we're teaching something that has like people have feelings about, and it's money and all these they need to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And it's not by accident that the people that a lot of times, if you look on seminar staff, Joe DeGame, teacher, like a lot of those folks had a teaching background. But I think when I found out you were previously a kindergarten teacher, I was like, like with all the tattoos, or those come later?
Well, when I was teaching at a private school, and you're pretty formal in a private school.
Right. Long sleeves.
So I was wearing long sleeves, button-down shirt, tie. I was like very Mr. Rogers. I'd like throw the shoe to the other hand, the whole thing. So way more in my element now, being able to run gyms and still coach. And yeah, I think like I guess tattoo's just part of that game. I don't know.
Yeah, you have to, everybody.
Yeah.
That's also the thing I look for on Best Hours. You must have tattoos.
Okay, good. Yeah,
So
I made
you
it.
checked both the boxes. So when did you open the first Tilt? Or actually, let me even go back. When did you decide you wanted to be an affiliate owner?
On the back patio of CrossFit New England, when I had a conversation with who I thought was just like one of my good friends and members that I was coaching. So I'd been approached a couple times while I was coaching at CrossFit New England. People have been like, hey, if you ever want to open a gym, like, you know, I'll bankroll you. I'd love to help you. It never like actually felt right to me. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like keep doing my thing. Like I really like coaching. I've got like a pretty nice life going on right now. And
You're working 10 months a year
yeah,
as a teacher.
yeah, I was teaching. And actually, at that point, I had made the jump to being a full. I know you don't like that word. I don't
What?
like the full-time coach thing. You know.
Why?
I don't know. I had heard that there was like it's no full-time or part-time. It's like coach or not coach. Anyway, we don't.
No. Actually, that's a great distinction. So to clarify what I was talking about, where did this come up? I forget where it came up, but somebody was the question came up about how they were going to either conversations or how they were interacting with their part-time coaches versus their full-time coaches.
Yeah.
Listen, I want everybody to have full-time coaches. Like
Yeah.
I'm here for that. Is literally what we do. Like I want people that have jobs, quit their jobs, open boxes,
Same.
and then I want them to hire full-time staff.
Yeah.
Like I have 3 at my gym. It is the most rewarding thing of all time. What the point I was making there was stop delineating between part-time and full-time with the expectations and standards that you set with your staff.
Yeah, I agree
that
with
was the
that.
delineation. Yeah, it wasn't that I have like beef with part-timers. No. I'm not entirely sure. Do you have any gyms that don't have part-timers?
All of our gyms.
That's my point, right? I don't think there's a scenario where even the most successful gyms don't have part-time
I don't
coaches
think it's-
because
I don't think
I
it's
think it's just
possible.
part of it. I think it's great. I think
Yeah.
you should have a really strong part-time bench.
Yes. All right. So I was a full-time coach at the time at CrossFit New England. I'd been approached by a handful of people to essentially like bankroll me. I'm
Right.
like, I don't know what to do with money at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I had no clue. And
We don't
so-
teach math in kindergarten,
Yeah,
guys.
no, I mean we did. That's probably why I got out of teaching kindergarten in the first place. I was like, this is a little too difficult for me. No, but I met my business partner, and he was really drawn to me because I had a really big beard, I had a bunch of tattoos, and I would listen to Katy Perry a lot, and he thought it was hilarious. That was like
I tell you, the first time I ever met you, you did have a really big
Massive.
beard, and was in the airport at Madison
yeah, I remember
at the games.
Yeah.
like at the rental car.
Yeah. You
Counter
thought I was a
checkout.
rabbi. So I'd been talking to my business partner for a while. We're on the back patio lifting. He's like, what if we open a gym? I was like, okay. He's like, listen, you can buy in 50% with sweat equity. I'll put up all the money, and like, let's do it. Let's start a gym. I was like, all right, let's do it.
Sweet.
And that was it.
You're like, what's sweat equity?
Yeah. Who
cares?
I was like,
Doesn't matter.
I was like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. Should we sign something?
Yeah, we did. It was
Okay.
great. And so that was we're coming up on 10 years for our first location.
Okay.
That'll be in March.
Congrats.
And then it was like a year and a half to 2 years before that because it took us that long to actually build the gym that we initially started.
Got it. So when you opened the first location, did you go into that location full time, day one?
Oh yeah.
So talk to me about when you open, because I was recently trying to think about this. I'm in a weird spot now where I've owned my affiliate for, I'm in my 16th year. I don't know, like I guess technically it'd be like a full 16 in October. And it was, when we opened it was part-time, and it was so long ago that I don't actually even really remember a lot of the early days. I remember some of it, but I'm getting pretty far removed from it.
That's what happens when you get older.
I know, dude. Yeah, cataracts, all sorts of stuff. What was it? Do you remember what it was like when you opened the first location?
It was the best year of my life. It was unreal. So I opened full time. I was the only coach at Tilt. We have another area upstairs that 2 of my buddies rented out for their startup called Platform. I'm not plugging another company here, but it's a great company. They provide online strength and conditioning content for high school and middle school athletes. So they had their startup. I had my startup. We drank coffee all day. We worked all day, all night. It was but it was the most spectacular grind because it was all me.
Yeah, you're young, everybody's having a good time. You really don't have anything else going on. You're like, that's when you should burn the candle at both ends.
Oh yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really great. And I can remember getting my first intern, and the first thing I did was take class. Like when he was able to coach a class, I was like, I'm going to take that class, because I was doing the thing where, you know, the gap between noon and 4:30, I would like set a clock for 20 minutes and just like move for 20 minutes.
Right.
And so I did that, you know, until I had my first coach, and then it was like, all right, I'm going to take class. And I just remember that being like the coolest experience. Like I'm in one of my classes right now.
You're like, yeah, I don't have to like work out in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I can like take a full class and do a warm up.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I probably didn't warm up that much. But
I still don't warm up, which is probably why I'm quasi-injured right now. But I don't want to talk about it. So what was one of the biggest lessons that you took away from that first bout of ownership?
You don't know what you don't know. And I learned that really, really quick. I figured out the thing that I was like really great at, which was I was so good at the time at the class experience. I built pretty quickly a really wonderful community. People were having a great time. And I had no idea about running the back end of the business.
Okay.
And so a couple months into the gym being open, my business partner comes in, and it's like, you know, tail end of a class. I'm like, Len, like, you see this? I'm like, dude, it's sick. I'm like, there's so many people here. He's like, none of them have a membership. I'm like, oh, he's like, you haven't signed anybody up. And the ones that you have signed up, you gave them a friend and family discount. Everybody's on a friend and family if they have a membership here. And that's like $75 off our regular membership. He's like, dude, it's awesome. Like, there are so many people, and I get it. They're having a great time. Like, nobody's paying what they should be paying.
It's cool, but it's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Got it. So like, you don't know what you don't know.
Math,
I had no clue how to do it. The first person that we brought in, our intern, who is now the GM of all of the Tilt gyms. Okay. He's been with us for essentially 9 years, is the absolute best at that. And he is like, we literally found the unicorn guy for this one, you know, for this thing.
On day one.
Yes.
Whatever that was. Yeah. Your first hire was the one.
Yeah. It was great. So that was a really big thing for me.
So let's chat real quickly about business partnerships, because clearly you have one that's successful.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have multiple locations. What are all the locations you guys have at this point? So there's 7.
Yeah. So we have Waltham, Sudbury, Southborough, Cambridge, which we're in.
Can we talk about all the names in Massachusetts? They're just weird names.
Yeah, they're hard. Yeah. So those are the 4 that are really like our main gyms. And
those are 4 like brick and mortar, like your traditional CrossFit gym.
Yeah, and then we have 3 other gyms that we are partnered with. We are partnered with a gym called Base, and they are small group training, more like functional bodybuilding style gym. We just bought a gym in Martha's Vineyard that is, we're going to reaffiliate that gym. And then we are starting another gym in Charlestown that will be a CrossFit affiliate.
Very cool.
So that will bring us to the 7.
So you'll have grown by 3 gyms since being on the team.
Yeah.
I thought it was 2, but there you go. Always full of surprises, everybody. Okay, so we regularly get people that probably less people show up with multiple locations, but it's not uncommon for somebody to be like, hey, I'm thinking about opening another location, or gym down the street is closing, maybe I should buy it, or whatever. So whatever multi-location looks like for you. When you guys went from 1 to 2, were there conversations that were had about that? Like, what did that look like? How did you guys make the decision or come to the conclusion that, like, okay, we think we can do 2 at this point?
It was, we thought we had the guy to run it, and we did. And it's Brian, who, again, like I said, is our GM. At that point, he had been with us for a while, and he was an absolute killer coach. Like, kid could run the back end really well and was really good on the floor. There was a gym that was 2 towns over from us, so it's about 20 minutes from Waltham was Sudbury.
Okay.
And the bones of the building were good, but it was chopped up terribly. My business partner is great in renovation and all this other stuff. And so like we had built one gym from the ground up. This one was like, hey, if we renovate this, it can be awesome. And we think this is the right move to make. And that was how we did it. We thought that we had the person to scale the culture. And that was the thing that like, whenever we think about doing another gym, it's like, do we have the actual person that can be the lightning rod?
I don't think people think about, because I think everybody thinks they can do both. And most people can't, unless you're bored.
You mean like be at both and like run? You can't. So like
they're like, I'll split time. And I'm like,
no, you can't. So you're not going to split time. And that was the thing that like.
You will. It's not going to go well.
Yeah. So you opened up the podcast kind of being like, nobody like knows about Max. I'm so happy. I don't want anybody to know about me.
It's too late now. There's 5 million viewers.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine if it was 5 million? The thing that I want is I want to elevate people and put them in positions to do the thing that they're the absolute best at. To be honest with you, that's the thing that drew me to Best Hour, because I feel like that's what we do here with our people. So that to me is how to make it work at multi-location. You cannot think that like Fern's going to be at 3 different gyms because something will be done poorly. There needs to be one person who is that person in that location who runs it. Here we have Eddie. Like Eddie's the man. Like you guys have met him.
Yeah, Eddie's
he's
somewhere around here.
He's spectacular. Like he's the lightning rod guy. The talent management game, as you know, it's the hardest thing to solve for. But as we've continued to grow, we're starting to have way more of a pull. Because like you said before, we want to give people careers. We want to hire full-time people if that's what they're looking for, put them in positions to do the thing, and then support them on the back end.
All right, guys, if you like this content, please subscribe to the podcast. But understand, we work with affiliates. If you are interested in building your business, understanding strategy, building a better community, and building better coaches and careers for them, hit the link somewhere around this video, and we'd love to have a call with you.
When you're saying that, that reinforces my core belief, which is what is the game that affiliate owners are playing, which is the development of people and client retention. And then so to layer on what you're talking about is like recruitment. If you can get really good at developing people, recruitment gets much easier. It will always be hard, but it gets much easier when people see like, oh, that's a viable path for success for me. So if you get really good at making great coaches and great people and elevating them, putting them in those places, it becomes a very enticing offer for people to come into that machine and be like, oh, well, I'm going to get a ton of benefit out of this. Like I'm going to either get better at, communication or coaching or management or whatever. But few of us look at our gyms like that. Be like, hey, this is an opportunity for me to give other people opportunity. Like, well, I'm just going to coach it, or, for whatever reason, they have a vision. They're like, I never want to grow past this point. And my thought is like, well, then you're robbing somebody else of an opportunity if you never grow past that point.
Right.
If it's just you, then it'll always just be you, and eventually that's not going to work out. So I think that's really cool, and that's what I've observed about you since I've known you, is that like you do like to do that. You do like to elevate people and give them opportunity, which I think is really rad. I don't know how many people I've heard you say, like, coaches or whatever, be like, I'll give you a job. I'll hire you at one of my locations over here. I think that's awesome, and I think more affiliate owners should show up with that mindset. Whether you can afford somebody for that right now or not, it's not the point. But the point is you got to start with the mindset first. Yeah. And then you'll be able to grow into that over time. So, okay. If you're looking at second location, what do you think is let's start with the red flags first. Like, what would you say if somebody's looking at it, what would be a no in that scenario?
I mean, I've run a lot of red flags. It's you're looking at the community. Here's the thing: if you're going to start a new gym from the ground up, it's way different than buying a gym.
So that was the other point I was going to make, is that you basically going on 7, but you've done both versions, right? So I've purchased another one that may or may not be great, but I've also built one from nothing. Yeah. I'm still on the fence on which one of those I think is harder. It depends on what's going on the one that you're purchasing that's existing, I think.
Likely if you're buying a gym, no matter how much of how much due diligence you do, you're never going to know the true vibe and what's going on until you're actually in the thing. So we've bought out a couple of gyms, and most of the time there are obviously community issues when people, what in my experience, and this is, I don't want to make blanket statements, but in my experience, when you're buying a gym, you're not buying the gym at the top of the market, right? Sometimes the person is burnt out, sometimes the person, needs to sell for other reasons. And so because of that, the community has taken a hit. And when the community takes a hit, there's now this feeling of distrust. Right. And so the biggest thing that we try and do is to come in and build trust. So we need to, show them, like, we're going to coach some great classes. We're going to renovate the facility. We're going to be here for you. We're going to support you. And we've found great success in that. Your original question was, like, what are the red flags to look for? I mean, those are the things that we look for, but then we also have this firm belief that, like, we can turn it around.
Yeah, and is that like you just are going to will your way through it, or you're like, no, we have people and processes and we have somewhat of a hold on here's our equation for shifting culture in a positive direction?
We believe that we have that equation, and we really think it lies largely in the people that you have staffing the gym. Like, we're in a great facility here. All of our facilities look the same. They're great. To be honest with you, that only takes you so far.
Right.
Like, you have a nice facility. Cool. Like, are the classes good? Do the coaches care? Like, those are the things. And so, like we talked about earlier, the people that I have, and I know you feel the same way as the people you have, are the best. People that we have are the absolute best coaches. They care. They're having a great time. And because of that, it actually works. Now, I will tell you, on the processes side, the year that I've been with Best Hour, and this is not a plug for the curriculum, like, it freaking works. We had some massive holes. And
what were they, just out of curiosity?
A lot of it was our sales process.
Okay.
Like, our sales process, our, like, incoming lead process, like, all of it. We really relied on good vibes, strong coffee, and a great class experience.
Well, so I think that does highlight the value and the point of making your classes fun, which is, like, it will take you a long way. It's not enough, I don't think, but do not ever underestimate how valuable it is to make your classes really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is my obsession with, like,
I was just reading when we do evals at the gym, they immediately get plugged into Slack. So when you hit submit, it gets popped in there. And I was reading it, but then Cassidy came in and chimed in behind it. Jared had coached the class, and all he talked about was the vibe. He was like, bro, this class was fire from start to finish. And he, like, reiterated that. So number one, I was glad to see that happen. But number two, I was pleased to see him reiterate the message to the rest of the team that, like, that shit matters. It matters more than your ability to coach a snatch. It matters more than the sales packages you have on board. It matters the most.
That's what the people are going to remember, right?
Dude, it's the most important thing. And then you want to layer it on with great coaching.
Right. So for us, that was, like, what we got coming into Best Hour. When I became part of the team here, and I told you, I'm like, I need to take part in the curriculum. You need to walk the walk, like, at whatever reason. And so we're doing it now, and, like, things are really great. Like, our classes are still good, but, like, we also have a really good understanding of, like, how our sales pipeline works. And we're also, the retention stuff for us, we've always been big on, one-off events, larger events, all this other stuff, but we're just making them way stickier and way tighter. Like, the simple things that we all talk about, like committed club, all this other stuff, like, those small things you can do way better. Right? Like, you can do them kind of okay, and then, like, oh, there's actually, like, these other things that we can do, and people care way more about that.
And do all of those versions. So if you're watching this video, number one, first, like and subscribe, share this with another affiliate owner or coach, but go back probably, I don't know which point this is going to publish, but there's a talk that Max did at our mastermind recently that's published on our YouTube called 5090. Club, and that's something that's unique to you guys that is now, like, a bunch of our people are doing.
Yeah, people are into it.
Yeah, people love it, dude. So it's awesome. But all of that is retention based. It's like, how do we engage people intentionally? Because that's the retention is not the only thing you have to think about in the gym, but understand it is the linchpin for your success if you are in a customer service based business, which we are. And if you want to get into the business components of it, it is the variable that basically everything else hinges on, right? Whether you're taking lifetime engagement, lifetime gross profit, like all of that stuff, cost of acquisition, all of it is directly associated with retention. Like tell me what that number is, and then I can make strong assumptions about many other things. Like, what's the percentage? How many people is it? I want to know that. And I'm like, okay, it's a really good starting point.
Yeah.
And then how do you do that? It's like you run great classes, you give a shit about the people, and then you make systems for that.
Yeah.
And then you scale them. So, okay, so what is different between 2 versus 7? So what is your role across all of the gyms at this point?
My role across all the gyms right now is, well, day to day is the gym mayor. It's great. I forget what I was saying. I'm like, I live the best life I could ever live, and I believe that every single day. Like, I coach when I want to coach. I coach regularly at my gyms. There was a time when I wasn't coaching. Now I coach like 1 class every day. I freaking love it. I think in September I might go back to coaching 2 classes because I always know my second class is always better than my first.
Yeah.
So that's my role day to day in the gyms, and then my role day to day in the company is honestly like bigger picture stuff. All of the acquisitions that we've made come from relationships that I've built. So
Say more. What do you mean?
With the exception of the first gym the first gym in Sudbury that we bought out, like the opportunity to open multiple has come from essentially connections that I've made, and so I'm the one that kind of brings those to the table. So I'll bring the opportunity to my business partner and be like, hey, do we think this makes sense? This is a good opportunity. Our general manager, Brian, is a huge part in everything that we do. It's really us 3. And Brian
Because he's the overall GM.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's like Oz, dude. This kid, I don't know if he sleeps. He's amazing. And I like cannot say enough good things about him. And rightfully so, like he's a big part of what we do, and we make sure that he knows it and we show him the love. He deserves everything he gets.
So what did you not know about multi-location, or what did you think multi-location was? Was there something you're like, oh, this is what it's going to be like, and you're like, that's not at all what it's like?
Well,
and did that change when you went from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 4 to 7?
I'll be honest, I never thought I'd open more than 1 gym. So we opened the first, and I was like, this is pretty dope. Like, a gym's really cool. Like, I love this life. And then there kept on being more opportunities. And I was like, oh, well, actually, like, we can continue doing this. And so the things that I've learned, throughout this whole process is what you just said. Like, if you don't have a system for the thing that you're doing, it's likely going to fail. You can make it work with 1 gym. Like if you're running your 1 gym and there's not a perfect system for it, but you're the one like doing all the things, you'll pick it up, right? But like now, the way that we're like doing this thing, there has to be a system for everything. And communication is paramount to success. Like everybody needs to be on the same page about everything that you're doing. And if there is a drop off, now it's a bigger drop off, right?
When we purchased a gym, this is years ago at this point, I'm confident that I could do multi-location now if I decided I wanted to do that. But when we did it the first time, I was not prepared to do that. I fell prey to the single location success that we were having, not fully understanding why we were successful, and then thought that I could just magically do it with the second one. And we ended up being kind of like forced to shut that one down because of a lawsuit between the landlord. But candidly, I'm confident saying that that gym would not have survived anyway. Like we would have failed because I was not equipped to do 2 at the same time, because I didn't understand a handful of things that you're talking about right now, which is like I wasn't a good enough communicator at that time. And not to say that like I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't know how to communicate information that needed to freely flow back and forth. I did not have good enough systems. Like we had not systemized all the things where to the point I was not required to do anything in the business, and I had a good pulse on everything that was happening. I was not capable of doing either one of those things, and it showed. We made a little progress there, but there were some other variables there as well. Again, all my fault and due to my ignorance. But when I see people making that leap, it's very often prematurely. I tell people, I'm like, when you're bored, you should go open a second one. When you're bored and the thing runs the way that you want it, and you sleep good at night, okay, consider go opening a second one. Because I do think that multi-location to some degree is the future of affiliate ownership. I just think it's a lot harder than people think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we see it happening in Massachusetts right now. There's a couple of us that run.
So you, Josh.
Yep.
Is there somebody else?
I think that might be.
But I mean, you and Josh own 10 or 11 between the two of you, I think.
Yeah, Josh, great dude. I think good point that you had there, which is like, your ignorance, it didn't work. Like we've taken some chances over this past 10 years, and we've had some real failures. During the pandemic, we tried to do you remember the company Atom from
ATOM, yep.
Wasn't it through RPM ropes?
I don't know what that relationship was, but some sort of
it was like it was like the Peloton of CrossFit.
Yep.
So during the pandemic, I built out a whole studio. I bought all video equipment. I hired a director. We shot 2 months worth of pre-recorded at-home CrossFit stuff, and we finished the shooting and we're like, this is like not us at all. It was not.
I never bought into that train.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing.
Not that I didn't want people to pursue it. I didn't believe that was going to be where things would shift.
Yeah, I mean, we just, you don't know what you don't know, and we just realized that it wasn't authentic. And that was the other thing that I learned really quickly was whatever we do, it needs to be authentic to our brand and what we are about. And the thing that we're about is giving the best class experience. And to have the best class experience, it's not done virtually. And so, listen, that was a sizable investment, but I look back on that and I'm like, thank God, we now know without a shadow of a doubt that this is the thing that we do. And then we've also tried to do things I opened a spin studio. And to be honest with you, that's not what we do. So, hey, we built out the space and now we use it actually for a bunch of kids stuff and it's awesome, but we need to run CrossFit classes because that's what we're really good at.
Well, I think the underlying tone there is really getting clear on who you are and what you do. Because listen, if you're an entrepreneur and if you're an affiliate owner, you're an entrepreneur, you will get shiny object syndrome. Nobody's immune to it. It happens to literally everybody.
Yeah, it's what happens whenever I see a rower on Facebook Marketplace.
I'm like, I gotta buy it. Right? I don't know why. Where are we gonna put this? I have no idea. Cassidy and those guys were making fun of me. They're like, why did you buy those curl bars? And I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
Because have you seen my arms? I need a curl bar. I need a curl bar with these arms. But you really need to get clear on what it is that you're doing, because I've said this before and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. The affiliate owners that definitively say no and are clear about what they do and they don't know are typically the best. There was I was doing an onboarding call with a gym owner recently, sizable gym, north of $1 million and a year. And he asked, he's like, do you guys sell any SaaS products or a CRM of any sort? And I was like, no. And he's like, really? And I was like, no. And he's like, you guys should. And I was like, we're never going to sell a CRM. He goes, you guys could make a lot of money. I'm like, I have no doubt. I was like, but we're not going into that game.
Right.
I was like, that is bloody waters. Everybody else can have that. I'm not showing up 20 years late to that dance, to hope to make a couple bucks. And I was like, and it's not in our skill set.
Right. I
was like, we know where we want to go and we know who we are and what we're going to do. And I would prefer to stay agnostic to software because software is going to change every 6 months. And I said, I'm not going into that world. And I was like, I thought about it, but my more mature self was like, no, that's not where you should be going. You should stay with your core competency and do that. And he was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, and that's what we're going to teach you to do, by the way, because it's the number one skill set you have to have as an affiliate owner is don't do too much new shit.
Right.
Right, you start to, well, I could do this and I could do this and I could do this. I'm like, you could do a lot of things, or you could just do the main thing. Yeah. That's what you're highlighting. It's like, hey, we're getting to 7 gyms because we continue to improve the main thing, and every time we do it, we get a little bit better, and then we get a little bit better, and then we make it a little bit better after that, and then ultimately you growing this massive tilt empire by just focusing on running great CrossFit classes.
Yeah, we say it all the time in Best Hour and working out, simple, not easy. Mm-hmm. You talk about squatting, deadlifting, and pressing being universal truths that these things work.
Yeah.
They've been around forever because they work really well.
Yeah.
CrossFit classes work really well.
Yes.
In fact, they work better in my eyes than anything else. It's I've been training now for 26 years. CrossFit's been the thing that's worked the absolute best for me. And it actually doesn't work really well for me on my own. it works really well for me, like when I'm in class doing the thing. And so that also gives me so much confidence moving forward, because it's like, I actually know that this is the thing. And like, we're going to show it to you in a really great way, and you're going to have a blast, and you're also going to be able to come back the next day and do it. And that's what I really care about.
Do you have how many members do you guys have across all of your facilities? You know?
No clue.
I actually didn't think you would. That's why I asked.
Okay, that's great.
But I know who does know.
Brian does. We literally texted Brian a second before this to get the date of when this gym opened. He knows all. He's the all-knowing Oz. He's wonderful.
But it's cool. I think there's a handful of people that have, you know, I don't want to say crack the code. That might be not what you guys would call it, but like have been capable of doing multi-location well. I think you do it well. Obviously, Josh has done it well. We're talking about Josh Plosker, and then Daniel Chaffee. And then there's I don't want to leave out some. There's a couple other folks in the UK, Europe region that I think also do it very well. But they're few and far between. But I tell you what, across all of those folks is the common theme is a focus on the core thing.
I thought it was really good looking.
It's that too.
Yeah.
So, if somebody's thinking about doing multi-location, what advice would you have for them?
It's the advice we talked about earlier, which is like, if you're going to open a second location, make sure you have that person that is going to run that second location. If you think that you're going to be able to split time between both the things, you just can't do two things well, right? So you could certainly stay at one location, but there needs to be somebody else that really can carry the torch. And then remember that as soon as you start expanding out, now all those systems matter so much more, right? So it's like
everything turns into a game of telephone.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just like the information that makes it to you is less and less accurate.
Right.
Oh, things are going well over there, and you like look at the numbers. I'm like, we have different definitions of well.
Well, yeah.
So
that's what I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, listen, guys, if you like this content, if you're thinking about doing multi-locations, at least set up a call, right? Like, so Max in-house, we don't have a huge coaching team because we don't want a huge coaching team. We want the best. But anybody that's kind of looking at that or has multi-locations, we'll usually shove them over to Max because Max has a tremendous amount of experience over there. But if you're doing it, understand that like we want you to be successful in that endeavor, because our whole goal is to grow the number of CrossFit affiliates so that we can impact more people. In order to do that, you got to focus on the main thing so that you can do it really, really well. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.